Well, let's get started this morning. We're all shut in behind this, whatever it is, but those like who I'm trying to talk to have learned discipline, and then we had to get along with whatever was thrown at us. And this is a particular time for us senior citizens to get together and plan out what we want to do. We don't have long for this work, but we can dictate what we want done when we're gone. All right. First off, I need your time, your talent, and your resource. Okay, what that can take? Well, if you have grandchildren or great grandchildren, that's going that uh, will you leave behind when you leave this earth. Let's say, let's take hypothetically a person that has a house and they are seniors and they have family long distance, but you need family around you. Okay, so this is where we become global brothers and sisters. All right, this person has a house. This person is a youngster that's struggling to have no job, and then everybody's getting something. Let's put that aside. Everybody's getting a check from something or other. All righty, but those get with each other. That youngster with this older person helping that person. All righty, then we have to go at it from all aspects. I'm going to talk about this till the day I close my eyes and don't open them no more. We keep looking at the condition that we are in this world. Everywhere in this world, people come in and take our assets, and then they get richer, and then they go off to the side. Let them stay over there. Let's stay here and correct what they've done. Let's get together and create a way that we can rely on one another. All right, I'll give you an example. Me and my wife has a garden over there on Central Avenue. The other day I said, Michael, go over there and get me some of them kale. And my wife said, pull the beets up and bring them. Oh, some of the beets were big as a football. Not football, a watermelon. I mean, not a watermelon, cantaloupe. And when he brought the kale to me, put the kale in the sink, and I washed them with cold water first. Then I put some hot water in there, and then I cleaned them, and I got all them the worms was in it. And then some I put in a pot and I boiled it till they got down. And so I put those in individual cups. In the evening, I take that and I put maybe a piece of banana, a piece of any fruit or whatever in it and make me a smoothie. Because I used to be a diabetic. Then the beets, what I did with the beets, I washed them good and then I boiled them and then I took the skin off them and the juice that was in the pot, I put it in a bottle and put it in the refrigerator and I drink it every so often. Maybe whatever. People are making money off of doing this stuff, but they put chemicals and stuff with it. I'm just putting it from natural. And I'm very adamant since I'm no longer diabetic. I don't buy nothing that's prepared. What I mean by prepared, something that has the sugar and the salt in it. Everything they make to preserve it, they have sugar and salt, and wonder why we're diabetics, why we are all suffering with these sicknesses. I'm 86 and I feel not great, but I feel better than I would a lot of 86-year-old people because I get up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning. I ride my bicycle. I eat. Some days I have me a little bowl of Cheerios, and that'll carry me to 11:30, and then 11:30, if I have something left from the night before, like cabbage or something my wife cooked, and then I have that and a piece of meat, and I'm contented, and then go to the next meal. But you also in these medicines they give us, they give you this medicine to counteract this medicine, and they give you this and this. I in 2002 I walked in the guy's. No, 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 no. I was doing an electric job in Beverly Hills. I come out onto Sunset Boulevard. Instead of going to the right, I went to the left. That had me to the valley. Then I realized me and the youngster I had with me were going the wrong way. I turned around and then I said, "Oh, well, you going to drive?" And then a block away from Kaiser Sunset, I blacked out. And I came around and they pulled into the emergency. The youngster I had with me, timid, and I said, "Go on and drive up in the emergency. You got a guy that's here, you don't know what's going on." So we get me in there, and they look at me. Oh, all the here's a healthy black man. He ain't have nothing. So, and then they try to get my veins, and I have those veins that you cannot find. So finally, one nurse came in there, and they had a nurse on each arm. So the nurse, and then the doctor came in there, and he said, "Well, let's go down to the groin." And so the nurse got the vein, and that's when I, they hit me with the things to bring my heart back. I don't know, but then when I wake up in the room, I go up in the room rather. I said, "Nurse, what happened?" She said, they had to hit you whatever that thing for your heart, and then they told me that I'd always have heart problems. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, they went through my heart and everything. And over the course of the years, and the next time they went to Kaiser, they took me to Good Samaritan because it was above their pay grade. And my daughter, take me to Good Samaritan. It was my appointment was for 1 o'clock. So they had prepped me and had me ready and everything. At 1 o'clock, they took me into the operating room, and they stayed in my heart from 1 o'clock till 7 o'clock that evening. I don't still till this day I don't know what they claimed they couldn't whatever they couldn't get to the whatever. So anyway, here it is, 2020 now, isn't it? 20, yeah. Whoa, time sure go by, and I'm still here. But one thing I did do, I went, when I got to from the Kaiser to VA, the VA took me off all that medicine that they had me on. They had Plavix, they had me on all kind of medicine. And then when I get to the VA, they've been controlled. But the bottom line is, my problem is my heart. It has a low beat. Like the other day, I checked my blood. It was blood pressure. It was 110, 67, 40. That's my heart rate. What can I do? Put my finger in an electric socket? No. I just keep on and when I exercise on my bike, I don't vigorous. I just exercise. But anyway, that's what my podcast is gonna be about from till now until God called me up yonder, is what we should do as a people. You have a house, I don't got a house. You come in the house with that person that has the house, but you must respect that person. If they open their doors for you, you don't come in there and take over their house. You come in there and you be humble, like we're supposed to be with one another, and respect their. They might have a complete different ideas or understanding of what you are into. We have to forget what we this stuff the Europeans have taught us to mistrust and hate each other. We have to start loving ourselves. When you I walk down the street, I see a brother or sister, hi, I speak, and if they don't speak, that's their problem. I did my duty. And we talk about I've been married 62 years. And why have I been married this long? I'm gonna tell you. It's because I learned to compromise. Right, not at the moment that whatever comes up, but we have a disagreement. I have a time to think about it. She has time to think about it, and then we come back together, and maybe somehow or another it gets done. Then each culture has to understand we are raised differently. We are raised when we have the grandparent. I was raised in the house. My great grandmother lived in Philadelphia, and then my grandmother lived in Harlem. But we had communication with our grandparents, and then well, I started on the 50-yard line because my father had come to this country. He didn't speak too good English, so he couldn't help me. And then my mother was started having children when she was 16, so she couldn't help me. But they did give me the basis of love for one another. It was 10 of us. Whenever there was a holiday, my mother and father had us looking nice. And my father, my mother and father played the numbers. At that time, they called the numbers. But they didn't for greed, they did it for need. And we survived. Then we raised in New York. Out of 10 of us, 4 of us went into the army. My baby sister, Shahrazad, she went into the army. She was in Okinawa. Then my brother Russell is under me. I mean, my brother Pedro is over her. He took basic training in Fort Dix, and he never left New York. He was working on them radars. Then my brother Russell, Bobby Russell, whatever, he went to Germany, and I went to Korea, and we all, that was the way to get out of the ghetto at that particular time. And it opened doors being under the Veterans Administration. When I come back from Korea, I just there was nothing about New York City that I wanted to raise. If I did raise children, I would raise in that condition. It's because of the closeness of it, and then I don't like apartments. I like a house, and so I did check into. There were houses they were building upstate New York, but I kind of looked at it and didn't look at it because I wasn't really contented staying in New York City. But up there, they were building for veterans. But the white veterans would get in there and they would fix it so that they want us in there. It's everywhere we go. Like when I went to Japan, army when I went, army was semi-integrated, not completely integrated. It didn't completely integrate, so-called, until 1953. And we stayed in for 5 days. We stayed in Kokora in a hotel, and it was the Japanese people there welcomed blacks because it was all full of black guys. And but the white boys went to hotels where the whites carried, and they passed the word to those ones for whites and ones for blacks. And I just say these things. We keep beating our heads up against the wall, trying to make people accept us. And all I'm saying is to you seniors that want to live the rest of your life in peace, listen to what I'm saying and take the courage enough to implement some of what I'm saying. Check on your health, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then see things that you do are not good for you. Don't do them. I eat one piece of chicken. I used to eat 3 or 4 pieces. I eat the whole chicken at one time, and a piece of meat. It tells you when they telling you the size of your fist, your hand. I got small hands, so I had a small piece of meat, and and like what I did right here, where I'm making my podcast. I did this purposely for to talk to seniors and to let our young people. I want to have them come in whenever this virus is clear. Talk about the business they are in. Talk about what they're doing, and then that's how that's what I'm going to do the rest of my life. It's because it's something like, for instance, I'm I've been closed in now about a month. I'm not closed in enough. I come out here where my studio is. I have a bunch of pictures over there that I've been taking for years. I'm gonna segregate them and put them in each pile and leave it to the child and my grandparents and grandchildren that they belong to, and my family to belong to. Pictures behind me as my grandbaby in a boat right there, that a slave ship I made when they took it into school. I'm not mad at nobody. I just say me as one individual can be creative like I am and do the things that I'm doing. It can spread. You don't have to sit there and say, well, I done got old and I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna just sit here and fall apart. No, come on, let's wake up. And then when nuts call you on the phone, hear something on one of these channels, which they listen to all day long, false information. They tell you this and tell you that. You believe every word. You hang on every word. But you've been in this world long enough to know right from wrong. Why are you listening to these fools? Especially if they're not your age and haven't went through what you have went through. I'm gonna. I am on fire. And like I say, I'm on podcasts whenever I feel like I got something to say, I want to say. Because right now, I'm going. I haven't been in my African family village. I am on the spectrum, and I watch the community affair. I see everybody but me represented. They're singing. I sing too. I sing opera. I sing whatever. And but we are not represented on that TV. That's why I got my podcast, so that people can they don't have to. They can turn it off just like anything. I listen every morning. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I listen to Joe Madison, the Black Eagle from Washington D.C., and all kind of people called him, and they tried to put him in a box, but he don't let nobody put him in a box he don't want to be put in. Then later on in the day, I listened to Karen Hunter. She's a professor in a college in New York. I listened to Al Sharpton. He comes on that station, and there's a brother named Clay King. These brothers and sisters are talking to us, and we have to listen. It's on satellite now. It costs you a few little pennies. But what I'm saying is, we can get together and love and share and care with one another and make our life the rest of our lives peaceful. I am not mad at nobody. And when I had 22 acres of land, I'll jump around. I'm trying to get a lot of things to go through my mind. But I had 22 acres of land. I wanted to build an African family village. I talked to people, and I talked to a bishop of the Methodist Church, and he said, "Well, donate it to the." No, no, no. I talked to a young lady. She was into things, but her aunt had told me about them, and we had a conversation. She was in New York City. We had a conversation, and finally she said, "Are you a Christian?" And I said, "No." And why do I have to be a Christian to care and share and love one another, all of us? I've been married to my wife 62 years. She's a Methodist. I go into church with her. I went in there for a while, and I became a chairman of the trustee board. And everything I was doing around the church was trying to better the church condition. I don't have to whatever the Europeans put on a book that I'm supposed to believe. And see, I even now I love YouTube because I sit here and I look at the people of Africa. Just sometime, just take one day at a time and turn the TV on about Africa. I watched the other day where these brothers in Ghana, where all the trash came to this place. This one brother, he was collecting copper. His other brother was collecting plastic, and they were kind of fighting between one another. But and the one that was hustling the copper, he he had a wife and two children, and he took us to where he lived. Everything he got in his house was from that dump. Then, at the end of the evening, they washed their body. They had a lady that worked at the place, and they cleaned their fingernails and get that garbage and stuff from under their fingernails. It's just a beautiful. We are a great people. And I have people come to me, oh, that's African stuff. Well, where did you come from before you got to Mississippi or wherever you come from? Africa. My father, I will know on May the 15th by my ancestry. I've done two ancestry, and I'm waiting on the third. The third one would be about my father. I don't know where my father was, but he was in this country from 1919 to 1947 is when he got his citizenship papers. But he on his citizenship papers, which I have on the wall right in front of me, it says Philippines, but my father wasn't from the Philippines. But his countrymen called him Brahim Achi, Brahim Abraham from Achi. And so I assumed that my father was from Indonesia. Well, I'll run with that. But on the census, I put African American because I was an African born in America, African American. All right, they called us colored, black, Negro. They even give us a name for everything. They even taught us how to, if they didn't have a back door, make a back door. But I don't hate nobody. I'm just saying, if these people, they're gonna elect this clown again. But what we can do, we can supersede all them fools. If you got a house, you got little land, you can grow food. You can. I know a man up in Riverside had some farmland. We can go up there and volunteer and pick them. There's people. When I come to California, it used to be a bus that used to go down Central Avenue, pick up black people, and take them to Bakersfield to pick cotton. We do all that stuff. We have to get back to it. And like I say, I get excited when I talk about this because this is what I live. When I was in construction, people beat me, but what did they do? They learned me. They showed me their colors. But we are from Africa. It has 52 different countries. So we have 52 different ideas. So we can't come together on everything. But I'm coming from one thing that we have all in common. They all hate us because we're black. Now, prove me different. I mean, I ain't got no time to argue with no fool. That's what I'm going to be about. Like now, I have grandchildren and great grandchildren, and that's my grandpa, but they are being raised under the banner of their family. So their mother and fathers believe like this. And so if I don't believe the way they believe, they don't make them respect me. That's all right. There's somebody out here that do respect me for what I do for them, or whatever I say something. When I go somewhere, they have a grandparent day, and everybody else can sit up and say whatever they want to say. I'm not gonna get up there and say I'm gonna kill them, whatever. I'm just gonna get up there and say that when my grandchildren come around me, they can watch what I do. When they come to the house, I'm always fixing something. When something breaks, I fix it. If I can't fix it, I get somebody to fix it. And I teach them about. My wife was in Florida about 2 months ago, and my grandson stayed there with me. And I said, Jeremiah, what kind of music do you listen to? He said, Grandpa, I like music with instruments. I don't like music with people singing. Oh, I always, there's something about the way I deal with my grandchildren. I love them unconditionally. And when they come around it, they're like his little sister. When she was born, me and my wife went to Kaiser. She says, who gonna babysit? My wife said, who gonna babysit? My daughter said, you and daddy. And every day I'd get up, I'd go halfway, and my son-in-law, either my daughter, would drop the baby off, and I'd bring him back to the house. And we would take care all day long. And when she started walking, then it's a joy. It was a joy that we had our second. Where the things that we do with our grandchildren, we couldn't do with our children. And right today, I miss him dearly. I said to my son-in-law the other day, I said, "How's the babies? I call them my babies, and they are my babies." And but people form opinion. I have a neighbor across the street, two Hispanic ladies, and the lady dog would come in my yard. I said, "Keep that dang on dog across the street." So they thought I was the meanest person in the world. Well, I didn't mean it. I would let him poo poo in your yard, not in my yard. But if that's reason for to hate me or be mad at me, so be it. I've been in this house since 1965, and when I moved in, I didn't have a lot of money. I did the best I could. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm just getting out of me, talking to the atmosphere of how I feel about us as a people. But I'm gonna end right now. Slavery was a crime against humanity. Yesterday, today, and forever. If you wonder why I am saying what I'm saying, I just said it. Slavery was a crime against humanity. Yesterday, today, and forever. Thank you very much for listening to me.